Good morning. It is Tom Grody, and I'm here with my very, very, very good friend, Karla Rothan. Give me a high five. Give me a high five, Karla. There we go. Woo!
Good.
How you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Good, good. Karla's you're in Florida, right?
Yep.
We're jealous up here. Jealous, jealous, jealous. So Karla is joining me for 7 Minutes of Sunshine this morning at 7:07. I really appreciate you being here, Karla. And let me tell the folks a little bit about you. Those folks that aren't from Columbus. But Karla, Karla graduated the same year of college as me from Ohio State University, 1986. I'm sorry, Karla, to do that to you.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait.
Yes. So go Bucks, and worked for Wexner Center for the Arts, Central Ohio Area Agency, and then spent a dozen years at Stonewall Columbus, really taking Stonewall, which was just in really bad shape, secured the current location, helped build the spectacular new center that we have today. You can thank Karla for that. Thank you, Karla. And took pride from really tens of to a couple thousand to hundreds of thousands of people in Columbus, Ohio. Karla, with the help of her wife,
Yeah.
Linda, who they've been together for, you can see on the screen, for 25 years. And that's about the close to the time when I met Karla, when she came to the opening of Out on Main. And she's one of the first people I met in the restaurant, which you just made that opening night that much more special, I remember.
Fun.
But Karla is a workhorse, is and giver to the community. Currently is on the Greater Columbus Arts Council, been a commissioner for Recreation and Parks Department for many, many years, president of the foundation for that, and then the Short North Alliance Board, where she's on a couple task force for diversity and inclusion and equity, chairs governance board, and also has her own consulting company called Karla Rothan Consulting, and is currently working with Collective Genius. And I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more about what you're up to these days. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
That took me a while, didn't it? It's a long intro because there's a lot that you've done for Columbus. We're so grateful. I'm so grateful. You have had a big impact on my family as well. And today, I appreciate that you're going to share your values and your superpower with us. So what I usually do is give up the floor, and I just let you talk for a while, and I keep quiet. So go
Oh,
for it.
I can't imagine that you're really going to keep quiet. Are you really?
I'm going to try really hard. I'll even put myself
Oh,
on mute. I'll even put myself on mute. Okay.
well, we can break the rules a little bit. You can chime in. You've been with me for 25 years too.
Oh my gosh. All right. All right. Well, let's hear from you, Karla. Let's hear from you.
Okay, sure, sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I've watched a few of them, even though I'm going to admit it's not going to be at this hour. But I have watched a few of your interviews, and it's always very inspirational and positive. And I think it's so good, especially right now in this negative time in the news and everything, for us to have some great words from your guests and Tom, and just talking about love and what's important in life. And we've all had to reevaluate that, right? So thank you so much for having me. What great company I get to be in with those 50 people. So thank you so much. And, I always say that about myself, that I'm a work in progress, right? And so going through this exercise that you gave us it was pretty cool. And I looked at the materials, and I thought, you know what? This is a good chance for me to dive in, right, into myself, which I do quite frequently. I try to anyway, and do some self-reflection. So I picked a few pictures here. And the first one, of course, as you mentioned, Linda and I being together for 25 years. And we got married in 2018, October 6th, actually, which was a beautiful day. And we had waited. She proposed to me right where her parents proposed to each other in Pomeroy, Ohio, way down south Ohio, where their family is from. And she proposed to me on the Pomeroy Bridge there, just like they did when we were together for like the first year. And so she did that again in our first year, right? And so I was like, wow. Hmm. So it took us 23 years to get married because we promised that we would wait till it was legal. And so we did. And so that kind of brings me to this other picture, which I don't know if you remember this, Tom, but this is on the steps of City Hall. And there are 12 beautiful couples that got married in 2015. And Shannon Harden and I got to be witnesses to that. Of course, Mayor Coleman was the mayor at that time, and it was just after we got marriage equality. And he married 12 couples at City Hall on July 11th, 2015. And it was the most beautiful day. You know, he called Stonewall and he was like, I want to do a big wedding. I go, well, what do you mean by big? He's like, well, I want to marry like 30 couples, or I don't know how many it was. I said, oh my goodness. I said, when is it? And he's like, I said, let's see how many we can get, because, people have to plan for stuff like that, get their families there. But anyway, we settled on 12 couples, but he would have done more, believe me. And it was beautiful. And you can see the two women that are dressed in traditional dresses from India. And they told us a chilling story of how if this were in India, they would be murdered. And it really rang, it just really was just a terrible story that they told. But it just made the day even more significant for all of us because we just felt so grateful for that. So that's that picture. And then the one of my family that's Kathy Rothan. Stormy Rothan, Kent, me, and Paige Rothan. And so the reason I picked this one was I thought it was really one that would illustrate my superpower, which is caring, right? And so if you can see, like, my positioning, and my mother's too, but mine, my arms are outstretched. I almost wanted to be behind her too, because these are the folks that really, I guess, have, the word love takes on a lot of different meanings, doesn't it? And so in our family, we always say that love is gently guiding someone into themselves. And these four people definitely do that for me, along with some very close, and I can count on one hand, friends that are part of my extended chosen family. These are the folks that, along with Linda, really guide me gently into myself. And the word caring there is what that's all about. So that's why I chose that picture. And my whole life has been a life of service. Really, my mom and my grandmother both volunteered. My father volunteered for the church when we were young, our Catholic church there in Whitten Place in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Whitten Place. And he volunteered. I remember always he was up on the roof fixing a roof. He was over at the children's area fixing that. He lent his time. My grandmother and my mother both volunteered for the Democratic Party in Cincinnati, and they actually. I'm sorry if that was a little ding. Sorry about that.
Okay.
But they it was interesting. My grandmother at the time, she worked when Dick Celeste was the governor, and she remembers when Dick and Dagmar had little kids she's passed away now, but little kids hanging off their legs. So she really was way back when, and always a volunteer and very political. So that's probably where I get my need to serve, whether it be politically or for the community, just at large, and is probably from their example. So having this kind of unconditional love, which I've been so fortunate to have, and I've worked very hard on trying to love myself, which is very important, isn't it? It helps me to fulfill my purpose. And not everybody has that. And so you have to seek that out. Sometimes you have to create your family of choice if you don't have a family that you had from the start that gave you that. And so with my family and my family of choice, I've been able to fulfill my purpose in a lot of ways. Now, I hope I'm not done, but I know that that love and that caring was very important for me to be able to do that. So now I believe that, you know, your mission in life and your purpose are something that is placed in you by your higher power, which I call God. And so God has put me on this planet at this time, in this exact body, to fulfill a mission and to accomplish that mission. And it changes, right? And so the word faith, not necessarily a religious word, it can be, and it is at times for me, but also a spiritual word in the sense that, you know, you have to have faith that you are on the right path to fulfill your mission. So that does take a little soul searching sometimes. And there will be times when things come at you, life happens. It definitely has with me and my life, adversity. And, you know, you might be thrown off that path, but you have to dig down deep inside, listen to that little voice, which I've had to do many times in my life. Make sure you're still on that right path that you think that God has sent you here to do. And if not, move over. But have that faith that you are fulfilling the mission that is set for you by your higher power. So that's where the faith word comes in. And then grace is an interesting word, isn't it? But grace for me has to do with forgiveness and redemption, of course, forgiving yourself, mercy. And so grace, so as these things come at you, you're going to have some grace, some patience, forgiveness, flexibility, because the grief and loss of things can very much set you on end, right? And so that word is something that I have to always keep tucked away to help me out. And then, of course, peace. So that saying, you know, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. I say that to myself all the time, you know, because I'm like, why can't we have more peace in this world? You know, I go crazy. What is wrong? And it's like, Karla, start with yourself. You know, look at yourself. And do you have peace? And hopefully you will find that peace. And I know that that it's not always easy to have. But I'll tell you, when Linda and I stood in front of our friends and our chosen family, and it wasn't a very big wedding, in my family's estimation, I think we usually have hundreds and hundreds of people, but we did not. But you know, when we stood in front of God and those special people in our lives that mean so much, we basically had peace with ourselves, with what we've accomplished as a mission for marriage equality. We knew we had peace about that. And we had peace that knowing that we chose the right person to fulfill our purpose in life. And she most certainly is that person for me. And so we've been able to accomplish a lot already, and I know we've got many years to go, but she aligns with me in every way. She aligns with me and spiritually, emotionally, and she just thinks like I do. And we really try to take care of our family and our friends, and she's always first one to step up for that, no matter what they need, you know, and so that is really an awesome thing to have. So that's where I came up with those words. And then I was going to tell you a couple of stories so that it kind of illustrated it, because you know, and one of them was about Linda, but also my family. You know, my father died when I was young, when I was 13 years old. And my brother, Kent, who's pictured there, was only 11. And it was very difficult. It's difficult anyway, but my mother had never worked outside the home. She did not have a college education, and not that is a terrible thing. It isn't, but it does, and especially for women in those days, it did put her in a category of income that was not very, very high. And so without having any experience and growing up in an industry where she had a skilled trade or anything like that, she did not have that. And so it was interesting. It was tough. It was, but it was more emotionally tough than it was, of course, anything else, right? And so Kent and I, we learned to take care of ourselves a lot and each other. And because, you always fight with your brother, there's no way around it. We fought from the day he came out of my mother's body. And we still have our moments, but we stuck it out. And he became my biggest partner, especially my mother's actually passed away on January 13th, which is just a couple days ago, right? 2014. And he cared for her along with me up until the very end. And he did a fantastic job. I could not have asked for a better partner. But it all started when we were little and we had to figure this out. I remember one day he went to the refrigerator and my mom must not have gone to the store or something because she was just like, she's depressed for a very long time. And then she actually was, she was busy trying to put food on the table, trying to work. And there was cheese in the bottom drawer. And he goes, cheese. We have cheese. What does she think we are? A mouse? I said, well, we got cheese. Make something with cheese, Kent. And I'll tell you what, he has turned into one of the best chefs, one of the best cooks. That's not what he does for a living. But whenever he posts pictures of his food, I'm like, Kent, why are you not having me over for dinner? So we made lemonade out of lemons there, but he was really great. And so we grew up kind of caring for each other in that way. And then I think that the whole marriage equality thing, that picture, I think I went through that pretty well, but that story was significant too. And I think that it was important to share that with the world. Been a very small thing, but it was a big day for all of them. And so those are my three little stories. And I don't know, I see that you came back on the screen, so I'm thinking my time's up. It goes so quickly.
It goes quickly. You, Karla, you are such a special person. I just want to say thank you for, God, all the decades of service you've put into caring about other people, probably to the detriment of even yourself a lot, I bet, right? But just the caring that you put forth. I know there's so many people you stay in touch with. I know Twink Star is one of them who's turning 99, who you've just about adopted him and made sure that he's okay. You always check in on him. I think there's dozens of folks like that through everything that you've done for the whole community, you've always just had an eye out for. I know Letha and her daughter and Wendy, and you've got a big long list. You've always checked in on us. You've always just called and you just like, how are you? Are you okay? Caring is your superpower. It's so evident when you shared it with me. I was like, oh my God, that's totally your superpower. And when somebody's hurting, I know you physically hurt. I see it in your eyes, and you have that big protective mama bear that comes out and you wrap your arms around people. I'm going to cry. You've been there so many times, Karla, and I probably sometimes it feels like maybe you didn't get it back from folks sometimes. And I want you to know that your superpower of caring has changed Columbus forever. You've changed people's lives. You've created a stage where thousands and thousands of people got to experience the joy of being who they are. You've changed the arc of people's lives. And I just want to thank you for that. I hope that many people watch this and get to hear all the things that you've done. And I know you're young like me, so we have a lot of time left, right? And that next chapter and all the chapters that you're going to do going forward. But if you didn't lift another finger, you could feel really damn good about the thousands and thousands of people whose lives you have helped and cared for. So thank you. Thank you.
And I'm very blessed, Tom. I'm very blessed, and it has come back to me threefold. And so please know that. And I'm grateful. Thank you.
Well, we love you. Thank you for all that you've done. Our best to Linda. Thanks for sharing your values and your superpower. Thanks for getting up for me for 20 minutes of sunshine this morning.
And the sun came up.
The sun is up. It's out. And hey,
Shirt. See, I wore my special shirt for you.
the love and the sun. We did our high five. Hey, and there's one thing I always end the program with. Even when it's really damn cloudy out, the sun is
always shining.
Right?
Yes, right here.
Thank you, Karla.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Job.